In Pennsylvania, a vehicle must have the ability to defog its front windshield in order to be road legal. We also do want a source of heat in the cab, but we don't want to spend big on it because it's not a part of the drive system. And likewise, we don't want to use up a lot of power on it because it's not, a part of the drive system. So our first thought was adaptive reuse. Let's cannibalize that broken space heater we fixed and see if the heating element will work in the Acty.
I'm playing and losing a fun game of where did we put that? Looking for the heater we fixed so I can take it apart. Figuring out where to mount our heater. That's a pretty good spot. This heating element, although it's in an AC heater right now, it's really just a loop of ceramic. It doesn't really care whether it's AC or DC. It should just work. I'm gonna start by taking the heater apart again. We fixed it, we used it, and now I will lay down its life in the service of the cause. Greetings, humans. This potentiometer is designed for a much higher voltage. We're going to be powering this off of the aux batteries. And we have these hookups here already, which we can cannibalize. They were for things that we've now removed from the car. We really just want to take the heating element out. Oh, hang on. Yeah, Dale Gauge. Did you find Dale Gauge?
Dale Gauge.
Yeah, we've actually already featured Dale Gauge in a video.
It's kabazy.
All that speaker wire that I impulse bought like 2 years ago. Here we are. I have rigged up the world's safest testing apparatus. It's only 3.2 volts. If it gets hot, it's not gonna burn the wood. And if it does, there's a fire extinguisher handy, so whatever. Don't feel any heat coming off of it. So I probably fucked something up. We can see that the battery is live. If I go like that, we get a spark. And it kind of melts the shitty wire a little bit.
The little tiny bit of voltage we're putting through, it's not enough.
I've hooked up a fourth battery to my daisy chain. I don't expect it to make a difference. Results of the test are pretty clear that this is meant to resist too much voltage for a 12 volt system. I don't think the problem is that we're putting DC into it, so we may need to use a different heating element, which is a bummer because this one was free and I already destroyed the heater. So let's make sure my alligator clips aren't the problem here. That works. This, nothing. This, nothing. 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 So these resistors are too heavy duty for anything to get through.
The fixed heater did not work and is now broken. Fortunately, Jason had another broken heater.
We've got some Phillips head, and then just randomly you'll get triangle PlayStation button ass screws.
Daily dose of microplastics.
It's very hard to record what I'm doing. Basically, I'm doing surgery on this thing's butt. Or I guess you could perceive that as its heel. Some kind of weak spot, if only there were a metaphor for that. Here's your problem, Jason. There's a stink bug that crawled into this, which is like the worst possible thing to crawl into a heater. When I was a kid, I hooked up two 9-volt batteries to each other because that's what it looked like you could do with them. And I figured out you could make something really hot that way. But when my mom found out what I had done, she had disassembled my very innovative circuit, and I lost my battery privileges for a month, which I didn't even know I had.
I can't find the rest of the footage of me mutilating the second heater, but I'll spare you the suspense. It didn't work either. Both heating elements were simply designed for too much voltage, so we needed to set our sights a little lower.
The images for space heaters are incredible. For $11.09, this looks a little too good to be true. Worst case scenario, I'm out $11, so whatever. That little heater that I just bought is probably not going to be enough in the coldest days of winter. If it's that cold, you probably shouldn't be driving this car. First off, it's going to decrease the range significantly just from the temperature. Secondly, our battery chemistry will not charge below 0 degrees Celsius, so you can't use regen below 0 degrees Celsius. I think you just don't drive it when it's that cold. So having a small heater that only really is sufficient when it's warmer is going to be like a subliminal clue to the driver, like probably don't drive this car at that time. We just need something that'll like legally qualify as a defogger. This was so cheap that I kind of be surprised if it works. This feels flimsy as hell. Look at that little tiny heating element, and you can tell this is made for lower voltage. This thing is barely going to heat anything, which means that we can run it off with a low voltage circuit.
I mean, computer fan, tiny heating element. There's no reason to make it more complicated than this, but it's still pretty funny.
Looking at this now, I think we could have designed this. And then I remember I repeatedly tried. It is an August summer day, but it's actually feeling kind of cold. I'm not even joking. It's probably like, what, 65 degrees? This is very weird. That's not as inappropriate as it would have been to try this on any other day. We've got two settings here. There we go, listen to that. Right now it's just a fan.
It's gonna take you a long time to dry your hair this way.
It smells like when you start up a computer.
It sounds like it too.
I'm gonna try the higher setting, because because that one has no noticeable effect. Or maybe that was a higher setting. Those might just be fan settings, and the element might just heat the same either way. Oh, there we go. I do feel heat.
I mean, the Acty has a really small cab.
On the higher setting, after it's warmed up, I do. Yeah, it's like the world's shittiest hair dryer. I call this a success.
If
So.
it's not enough, we'll get 10 of them.
I know folks were like, why'd you spend so much time on the radio? Well, if you remember, I talked about this as exploratory surgery. We were trying to figure out what things looked like under the dash. I am using this footage now to locate a place to put the heater while we don't have the dash actually off. I have all this great footage. There is plenty of negative space under the dash according to this old video. We will just put this thing in there and that'll be that.
And as always, if you want to help buy parts, check out the links in the description.